Hi, I'm Jaqueline P'ng and you're watching the HTV Evening Highlights. OneMDB is making headlines again on Wall Street Journal, and this time it's about a missing payment to an Abu Dhabi state investment fund. OneMDB was supposed to have paid IPIC's unit, Abar Investment, 1.4 billion ringgit in collateral payment, but according to the report, neither IPIC or Abar received the money. To recap, IPIC had guaranteed $3.5 billion in bonds by OneMDB to fund the purchase of power plants back in 2012. In return, IPIC would get the option to buy a 49% stake in the power plants plus the collateral. Now in April, IPIC's MD was dismissed. Citing people close to the matter, the Wall Street Journal said it is the new management team that's now raising questions about the whereabouts of the money. OneMDB has fired back at the report, which it described as sensationalist, as the daily made no mention of its source or provide any proof of its allegations. It says it cannot speak on behalf of Abar or IPIC, nor can it comment on their accounting arrangements. But what it can confirm is that its audited financial statements clearly describe the amount and the purpose of the payment. More details over at theedgemarkets.com. Meanwhile, Nurul Izzah Anwar has threatened to sue the New Straits Times and Berita Harian. This is over their reports linking her to former PetroSaudi employee Javier Andre Justo. Nurul Izzah refutes the claim by the two dailies that she offered a $2 million contract to Justo in exchange for information on OneMDB. The PKR vice president says the newspapers are trying to distract the public's attention away from the OneMDB scandal.
I also issued earlier last week filed an affidavit for a discovery procedure to proceed so that we can get access on the bank accounts belonging to Sri Najib Razak. That's quite crucial. Why? Because at the end of the day, for me, these are intentional malicious deflections from the main questions raised from the OneMDB scandal.
Nurul Izzah says she is giving the two newspapers 48 hours to retract their reports and apologize, failing which she will sue them. Moving on, some 60 billion ringgit worth of bonds denominated in the local currency may be sold within the next 1 year. That's according to MIDF Amada Investment Bank. And as long as foreign investors are not done selling, it's going to be a difficult period for the ringgit. Data from the central bank shows that foreign holdings of Malaysian government bonds fell by 8 billion ringgit in August, its biggest decrease in over 2 years. Total foreign bonds and sukuk holdings were down by 8.9 billion ringgit, the most significant drop year to date. Yesterday, the ringgit weakened to a 17-year low against the US dollar at 4.3713. And going forward, things are not looking pretty for the local currency. MIDF says the ringgit's strength will take the cue from global and domestic factors, and that includes higher US interest rates. While gradual selling of debt securities is going to continue, the main concern for Malaysia, it says, is more on the pace of the selling. And the factors that are going to speed up that pace are the downward pressure on oil prices, domestic political instability, dampening economic data, and a faster-than-expected hike in the Fed interest rate. TTYL is looking to sell 400 million ringgit worth of properties for financial year ending June 2016. That's 100 million shy of what it garnered in sales in the previous fiscal year. The developer says it's adopting a more cautious stance amid weak market sentiment.
For 2016, TTYL will remain cautious. However, we are still positive. We will be launching GDV about 400 million. We are still targeting sales of 400 million. And this is backed up by unbilled sales of 732 million as at June 2015.
TTYL is planning 3 launches this financial year, which have a collective gross development value of 400 million ringgit. These are 2 residential projects in Ara Damansara and Cheras and office suites in Shah Alam. Meanwhile, another developer, Symphony Life, says its margins are being squeezed by slower demand. It warns that its performance for FY16 is going to be worse than the previous year. Chief Operating Officer Stuart T says Symphony Life is holding back 2 billion ringgit worth of real estate launches in the Klang Valley. The launches have been postponed until next year or 2017. In the meantime, the builder is going to focus on existing projects instead, many of which are at the foundation stage. That means it can only realize the contribution next year. Symphony Life's financials have weakened. FY15's net profit fell to some 42 million ringgit, while revenue was down to 286.8 million ringgit. For the first quarter of FY16, net profit dropped to 2 million ringgit. Sales fell to 40 million ringgit. As of June 2015, Symphony Life had unbilled property sales of 700 million ringgit. It says this can support the group's income for the next 4 years. And that brings the HTV Evening Highlights to a close. I'm Jaqueline P'ng. Thank you for watching.